Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People, a podcast about role-playing games and the weird, wonderful people behind them. Hello Weirdos! This is Diogo Nogueira, and today you're going to listen to me and Emanoel Melo talk about all our favorite weird things. Emanoel Melo, if you don't know him, is a fellow Brazilian RPG creator and a friend. He's a great graphic designer, and he recently released this fabulous game called CBR+PNK, which comes in a small boxed set with many pamphlets, so it's a boxed set of RPG pamphlets, and this game is perfect for you to explore a cyberpunk game in one-shots or short campaigns. And we talk about really great things about his inspirations, his other works, like the Space 42, which is this weird space horror kind of card game. We talk about how he's fascinated by ghosts, by alien stories. We were sharing about analysis of things, and we realized how Emanoel has this really acute design eye for things. Like, he observes the things that catch his attention and then start to dissect it in elements and see how things work and how he can explore these things on his own game. And we talked about all kinds of other experiences, other games, and we just had a great time. I hope you enjoyed our chat. We hope you learned a lot from it, as I did, and let's keep it weird with Emanoel Melo. Hello, weirdos! Here we have Emanoel Melo. Emanoel, I'm so grateful to have you here. We've talked a lot over the internet. We're friendly, my friend, a Brazilian creator. We always promote each other's work and try to see which everyone is doing. But it's very good to have you here to talk to you. And I'm like, how are you? How are you doing?
Hi, Diogo. I'm fine. Thanks for having me. I'm really glad you are doing this just to shake things up, and I'm really glad we are having this conversation like face to face finally.
Yeah. I mean, we have a glass between us, but it's great to see you here. And for everyone at home that don't know you, don't know your work at the Cabinet of Curiosities, who is Emanoel Melo? What is Cabinet of Curiosity? And talk a little bit about your work, and maybe share something weird about yourself or something that people think it's weird about you that you could share. It can be like any small detail for us.
Yeah, so I'm Emanoel Melo, the author of CBR+PNK, which is Forging the Dark cyberpunk RPG for one-shots mainly, but you can play like short campaigns. And I'm in the Cabinet of Curiosities. I used to publish some smaller work as well, some weird things like the Dodecahedrax, which is like a paper miniature that you can use to on your war games or RPGs and other small stuff as well. And the weird thing about me that I want to share today is I have a morning ritual that I can't go my day without it. And it's just I wake up, I go to make my coffee and talk to my plants, the ones that are resisting, alive at least. And I watch some videos about gaming, about indie games, digital games, or tabletop RPGs. I really don't like when I don't have a new video to watch. So like imagine like every day I want to have a new video about some new games, some recommendations or new stuff. And I this ritual goes like every day. And when I was working at presidential at in person, and usually I got late to work because of that, because I couldn't like I wake up too late, but I still wanted to do this because it's like my time to, as I used to say, it's when I am resurrecting from the night, like an undead,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I finally wake up. This is my weird thing to share today.
Yeah, that's very interesting. There is kind of a philosophy too that people say we die every day to resurrect every day. That's a really good way of thinking of that. So you can start anew and then forget all of the things because it's a new life. That's a great way to start your
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
yeah.
And do you do you think like RPGs are weird, or do you think they're like any other kind of game? And if you do think they're weird, uh, what is your favorite weird thing about them, and why do you
Mm,
like to explore it?
yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know what to think about that, because I know that for most of the society, it's definitely a weird thing, because we are like living and experience things on our shared imagination, and for most people this is like not possible, at least in my experience, what I've heard from other people talking about the our hobby. And yeah, maybe it is a weird thing. We are just attuned to it, in a sense that we this is our way to express and experience different things like other people do in sports or reading books. Uh, it's weird in a good way, maybe. Uh,
Yeah,
but it's very interesting, like to put yourself on the shoes of another person or thing, even, and 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 live with this experience of sometimes a lifetime, and just in a safe environment. For me, that's the most interesting and weird thing about it.
yeah. It helps you see the world like in a different model because our experience is limited through what we can experience through our senses, and we make a very limited model of the world and of reality, of experience, of emotions, of what is to be a person. And I think games, like especially RPGs, that lets you really be this person. I mean, most of games when you play, like you project yourself there. So even if you're
Yeah.
playing Mario Brothers and Mario dies, you say, "Oh, I died." But like
Hmm.
RPGs really gets you in the skin, and you talk like them, and you have these emotions when they suffer, and you see someone suffer in a role playing game. I remember like playing Dark Sun, and we're playing with my partner, and there was a really scene where people were getting like hurt because of the people in the arenas and stuff, and they were really stressed. They were really pissed because of they were really pissed at me. Like like I wasn't the one doing and everything, and they were able to fight it and change the situation. But it's something that really changes and lets you feel emotions that would feel yourself. Like I was reading about game design and how books and literature and this media that you are an spectator, and you feel these emotions all through empathy. Like you feel
Hmm.
happy because the character is happy, and different the difference that in game is that you don't these emotions don't relate with empathy but with agency. You the emotions you feel is because you did those things, you are responsible for all those choices, so you can feel all those other kind of emotions. I think you can feel most of everything you feel in movies and literature through empathy, but you can feel like pride for doing something yourself, or even
Hmm.
guilt for being responsible for something terrible that happened in the game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think
I've
that's help
seen.
us see the world like in different views, and learn even how to be maybe even like a better personal. I would hope if you are able to have experience with different kinds of persons and then stories and get a little bit away from yourself, right?
Try to understand these other point of views, because you were put in the situation by the story, or by other characters, and then
And by other
you
players too.
and other
And
players, and then you leave the game and have a chance to think about that. What if that really happens to someone somewhere in the world? What if it's happening right now? And it's very interesting. I've seen people in my youth, when playing, like many of my friends at that time, I really got to know them because of we are role playing, and they got really into the character, but in the end they are just like really projecting their own beliefs and their own ideologies, and the conflicts they had between each other. And it was a very interesting experience, because they finally revealed that the character was also them, uh, despite they saying that it wasn't. Like, this one character was very uh, uh, anarchist, very libertarian, like uh, from a nomad tribe, etc. And the other was a military character with a military background, and uh, very limited point of view as well. And they got into a fight in character, but in the end this fight rolled over into the real world. But of course, it's still a conversation between friends, but it was very interesting to see how their point of views clashed, and they finally look into each other and recognize what was the person and not the character.
I see.
And I
But
find this very interesting.
do you think it's? I mean, of course, we try to play other people, but I think it's inevitable for any character we make have at least a spark of the people that created them or they're playing them. I mean,
Yeah.
we put on masks to play these characters, but the essence is still that person. I think that's kind of inevitable, right?
Yeah. And that makes it's that makes it more interesting. Just an example: I am an atheist, and I am playing a cleric of Pharasma in our Pathfinder campaign, and I'm really trying to portray a novice cleric that has this enormous faith in their god.
He's so naive.
And yeah, and but I don't want to make her a caricature, despite the
Yeah,
fact
of
that,
course.
yeah,
Uh,
our game is not is a there are some comedic moments and etc.
and the
But
gods are real in Pathfinder, right?
yeah,
So
the gods are real. So and she in her background, she believes that she saw the face of death, and then because of that she was looking to follow the goddess, to one day finally see that face again and ask questions about that time when she saw her at first. And I really want to make her have this impact in the world, that's just not, hey, here's my fate, here is my god, she's the best, etc. I really want to make her experience what a cleric we are playing Kingmaker, so we are in this hinterlands, this no man's land. And what she's going to do, there's like this other folks. She just met some cobble tribes, some bandits. Each one has, each one of these groups has their own gods. So I don't want to undermine their gods as well, because my goddess, she reigns upon all of them, since she's the goddess of death and also life to some extent. And I want to play her serious, but at the same time, I don't know, as a person, as Emmanuel, I don't know exactly how to do that. So I'm finding out as we go, you know. It's they put the challenges before me, and then I just think through it in real time. It's a very interesting
Yeah,
improvisation exercise. And I am very shy and introvert, so it's also a challenge. And I'm playing with some new people, so it's always that.
I see. In Did you have like a religious childhood, or were you always an atheist, or like
No, no,
religious family members, or because that's something
yeah,
I mean you could draw from. I would guess. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
am an atheist too, but I had like a religious childhood. I was religious until I was like 20 something. I was living like in
Hmm.
youth groups and stuff like this, and then
Yeah, I have. Yeah, my whole family. They had some religious. They used to have more. But like my grandma, she's like very very into Catholic Church, and my mother is from Protestant branch. And she used to, my father was, I don't know in English, I think it's Rosa Cruxis. I don't know how to say that in
yeah,
English, but yeah, but and I used to follow all this because of them. Like you don't know things, and of course
yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
you get to the
Same here.
teenage
Yeah,
ages, and then you try to find your own identity. I looked to some things and I started to read, and I just didn't like any of it. But uh, what really took me, sometimes some life events made me just, you know what, I don't think there's a God, and I don't really care actually. And some people think that when you are atheist, you just are against God or hate God or something like that. But I always say, like, I am not anti-God. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't believe it exists, and I live my life as taking all the responsibility to me, to my actions and what I
yeah.
say, what I do. And my family doesn't understand too much, but
You're not being a good
they leave
person
me alone.
to receive a reward afterwards. You're being a good person because being a good person, it's good for others and it's good for you, right?
Yeah,
It's so much better. Like instead of being like all angry and everything, like if you just, I don't know, uh, helping others, and then all these religious teachings, they have the same teachings in philosophy, in many other kind of philosophies. Like Catholicism has a lot of similar teachings to Stoicism, but Stoicism doesn't have all the shame, like you're a sinner and this kind of stuff.
yeah, all that
So
guilt.
yeah, and
Yeah,
and
so I try to put a little bit of that into the characters that have some religious faith, but adjust as needed, depending on the god, perhaps. And I also like to put that a bit in my writing for RPGs. And right now I am working on a short campaign for CBR+PNK, and I want to give this sort of cult connotation, because it's a thing that it doesn't get much attention in the genre, like this cyber cults. I think like with Cyborg recently, we had some strange cyber cults more prominently, but I would like to try to write my version of something like that as
Oh
well.
yeah. Oh, I would like that too. Please do it. Emmanuel, what would you say? How would you define weird? And as I would try to say here, like the focus of the of the show is like weird, something interesting, something strange and wonderful, and that gets our attention. Like it's kind of trying to get the weird out of the bad reputation, because weird would be something that wouldn't be according to standards, and we would all have to fit in. And screw that, everyone is different, but everyone, it's wonderful being there and being authentic. So that's kind of what would you find in weird, and why are you interested in that, and why do you kind of pursue that in your work? Like you made a game in pamphlets, and you made a box set with RPG pamphlets, and that's something completely weird for the market. Nobody, I don't think and no one has ever done something like that. So that's at least a weird format that you explore, and now we're trying to explore like this cult, cyberpunk cult, is definitely something that deals with the weird, at least in the weird in the literature, and so that's what I would like to ask you. Like, how do you define weird, and why do you pursue it in your work, and you're interested in that?
Yeah, for me, weird is like something that what gets my attention and is labeled as weird is something that plays with the unexpected, and and also get my brain like fires off some engines in my brain and get me thinking, trying to reverse engineer that thing, and why am I finding this so weird? What's the combination they did here to make me find this fascinating and different and strange, and what are the natural and the unnatural causes of that thing? So yeah, and especially if I can't like explain it uh, right on the spot, like if I have to research about it, if I have to read and put pieces together
Hidden
to really
messages in it,
understand
you
the
know.
thing. Yeah, hidden messages. I love that stuff. And and in today's culture, there's a lot of this thing about Easter eggs, and you put Easter eggs in everything. But it's
Yeah,
not that. It's like the hidden
the meaning
meanings
of
of
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
the
Like this
symbolisms.
creature has this form because it reminds of this animal, and this animal in this culture means this kind of
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah,
it has this colors because this colors has to do with hunger, or has to do with, death, or the mind. Or, yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
very. You were you were a designer, right? A graphic designer.
yeah, yeah. One of the things
Yeah,
I am.
yeah. That's a very design way to look at things. Like you look at something, you want to try to understand it, you try to dissecate it, you try to see how it works and why it works, and want to see deep meaning in, and that's a very analytical view, and it's a great way to look at things, especially if you want to create stuff too. So that's uh very very cool way to look at the
Yeah, that
weird,
works
and deal with that.
that works with the game mechanics as well. Like when I see a weird mechanic, a weird style of role playing, I am really drawing to it to try to understand, and how can I
Exploit
change it
that.
without breaking it as well.
and what it's doing, why it's doing this and not that, and why it's more
Mm-hmm.
interesting for this and for that. Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
cool. I try to do that too. I always like to play with systems and always changing them, and sometimes I think, oh, maybe I should just keep the same system because people want to, compatibility.
Yeah,
But
to
I,
have a
I always,
safe.
yeah, I always have this drive to, oh, but I want to try this thing. I want to see what I can do with this. And
Yeah,
yeah,
the
but
the really difficult stuff is like to not make a big game about it, to just keep it small and quirky
and
and
not make it
experimental.
grow too much. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Not everything needs to be like this big project, this big thing. It can just
yeah,
be some quirky thing, this artifact that people can discover and then move on, and then maybe
yeah.
later rediscover it in another situation.
I think especially when we're starting creating, it's like I always try to do like the minimum viable version of a game and release it and see how it goes and develop a little more things for it and see how it grows and if I keep interest in that. And then if it keeps interesting me, I can try to grow it. Like Primal Quest, I'm gonna publish more zines for it, but yeah, I do intend like in the future and I have like a bunch of stuff for it that's making like a big book like Solar Blades, but with like Primal Quest. Uh
Awesome, awesome.
but I mean, yeah, I think it depends. You have to experiment and see how things go. And I mean, Cyberpunk started way smaller than this and got bigger. It's still small because it's pamphlet, but it's a box set with a bunch of accessories and explore the medium and see how viable it was and you made it even greater. And I think that's a great path that many indie designers are following, and
Hmm.
because it's kind of scary too to make like a big thing. It's like too much time to invest into it. It's a lot of money, and if it doesn't,
Yeah,
it,
and
it kind of
Cyberpunk
takes too long
started.
to happen, right? It takes too long to happen.
Yeah,
You feel like
exactly.
it will never happen, and it's kind of scary.
And then sometimes you just like loses interest about it, and
Yeah,
then the whole thing falls apart.
yeah.
And this game is started as just a small thing, just between friends, and then I made a pamphlet just to exercise my capacity to do that. And the formats chosen, like pamphlet format, was just because of that, because I had this constrained space to work with, and I could just be a little bit weird about it and try to dissecate another system, which is Forge in the Dark, and put it online to for people to see and to collect feedback. And I'm glad it was good enough for a publisher to pick up. But if it wasn't, I would just keep going and doing other stuff as well. Not
Not only that, like a
small
lot of
stuff,
people
stuff.
made stuff for it. A lot of people liked your game so much they're
Yeah,
like making more content for it, and it's
that's
and,
really crazy,
and
man. That's crazy.
it's awesome, right? Something you make and people love it so much, and they help you make it even bigger than you made it
Hmm.
yourself. Like and that's a fantastic
And
feeling.
keeps branching. You know, I
Yeah,
like how it inspired other people to also make pamphlet games and or experiment with Forge in the Dark, or other people to start playing more narrative games. And just because of that small pamphlet. And
yeah. It's
uh,
it there's ripples, no, right? It's
yeah,
ripples
yeah, that's
like
the
in
best
a
thing about this
pound.
hobby,
Yeah,
I think. These
yeah.
ripples,
And one
and the
ripples
indie community.
bumps in another and it comes back to you like even from you influence someone and that someone then influence you right back you know it's
Yeah.
it's uh it's great. uh I learned so much and kind of we all feel like teaching each other. It's great.
Yeah.
talking about creation, I mean, you talked about you have like this morning ritual. Do you have any ritual or anything you have to do uh, before you start creating, before you start writing or designing your stuff? Uh,
Mhm.
I've recently started like singing this song, because I read about doing like a invocation of the muse, and but I
Mhm.
didn't want to use like the invocation for lead, so I got this song that I really like from this punk rock band from Porto Alegre, and I sing it before I like do my work, and helps me get in the mood. For example, do you have some anything like that, or like
First
a
of
funny
all,
hat to
I wanna hear
use?
that. I wanna hear that song if you don't mind. Which song is?
The song is it's called Seja com Sol, Seja com a Lua, by Tequila Baby.
Nice, nice.
I don't know if you know
Well,
Tequila Baby. Tequila Baby, it's like this punk rock band that's similar to the Ramones, and they even had Daniel Ray produce a few albums from them. Daniel Ray produced the albums from the Ramones, and they made shows with Mark Ramone. They have a album they recorded with Mark Ramone too, and it's a really cool band. They have really uh, good songs, and like this rough voice, like this things like this and
yeah,
stuff. I really like this
yeah,
this kind of yeah, and I love punk rock. I love the
I like
Ramones,
that
and they
too.
were like something like this.
Yeah. So as a ritual, I like to most of the time I just like to collect images about the team, about the genre, uh, some posters or screenshots or just patterns that I think that fit the team. And I just collect them and make some mood board because I'm a very visual person. So to help me understand where I'm going to, I need to visualize, and to keep that consistent, I saved some images and make a Pinterest board or something like that,
Yeah, I make
uh,
Pinterest boards
or
too, but
on my
do you always
Notion.
do you always leave them at view, like where you work, or like do you check them
Uh,
like every once in a
to
while,
an
or
extent, yeah, to an extent, when I starting the project, or I don't know if it's going to be a project, but I'm starting something, and I just keep an eye on it, like every week, every day, depending on the speed I'm doing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
when I finally get to the meat of the project, and I just leave it uh, as is, and just keep feeding it, but not looking much, just to not be too much contaminated, because it I what I needed from it I got, and if I'm on the mid phase, let's say, I don't need it as much. So I like to start thinking on myself and just not looking very much. And then I go back to it when I'm on layout phase, and I need to pick some colors, I need to pick some forms, some image, uh, perhaps some filters they use, some, I don't know, some stuff that I
yeah, yeah,
like in the beginning. So I tie
yeah.
it together, taking a look at it again. So I do this for almost every project. I also sketch a lot, sketching on my sketchbooks or on my computer on Photoshop, and
Cool, nice.
just a lot of doodles. Uh, Usually I love icons, so
Do you
usually
ever
I have.
share those? Do you ever share those on like a blog or
Mm,
anything?
I don't think I ever shared something like that. What I did, I have a project in mind, a small game, uh, and I shared the mood board for it, the initial mood board on Twitter, and people seem to like it. Not. I don't have much about it, but I think I'm going to do that more. I think I'm going to
Yeah,
pick
As they
this
say,
mood boards.
people like to see how the sausages are made. You know, people like to see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
behind the scenes. Like, oh, I've been uh, studying this or been doing these doodles. I've been inspiring, or I don't know, this kind of stuff. I think
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's. I think I don't do it very often because I'm a very undecided person. I like. Some say that
yeah, yeah.
it's a thing from my astrological sign, like I'm Libra. So, but it's
Do you
just how
believe
I
in
am.
Do you believe in astrology? Like, are you are you into that?
No.
Like,
No, 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 no. I like the I like esoteric stuff a lot, alchemy and this tarot readings and but just as a curiosity, just like we are talking about these weird things in the world,
yeah,
you know.
it's weird, it's inspiring. It's at
Yeah,
least it's
yeah.
gaming material, right? At least it's gaming material. I
At
can
least
do.
that exactly. Everything I can learn about and
Yeah,
uh, how people used to think in other ages and other cultures, and I love to see it. Like, how did some people in Africa in the like Bronze Age, how did they do math? You know, this kind of thing. How did the Egyptians made keys for their houses, etc. And how
nice.
beer came up. And I think the most ancient beer recipes from Egypt, and
Yeah,
there's
I
a
think so. Yeah.
papyrus with the recipes. So I love this stuff, and it doesn't matter if it's some esoteric thing or some practical thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to share more, but it's the thing about the anxiety I was talking about, some indecisions, etc. Is because I don't usually share this because I'm still thinking about it. I'm still brewing it and undecided about the thing. So perhaps I think that if I share in that stage, in that early stage, the thing will not uh,
Ah, but you
continue.
always like hashtag WYP, like work in progress.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything can
yeah.
change. Like, I mean, I certainly shared stuff that I changed afterwards. It's just like to get even to get feedback. Like sometimes you share something, someone gives you feedback, and you learn something. It can sometimes helps you. I don't know, and or at the worst, people are starting to follow your project, start to think, oh, this person is doing this something new. Like before they're like ready to start to talking and sharing about it or promoting, people are already like following what you do too. So that's something
Mhm.
good, and people really like to see how the socials are made, like how people create or draw and stuff like this, or how different their creative styles are. Like I'm very interested in how different each creator does their stuff or have these rituals or things like this. And because
Yeah,
sometimes
one
we
one
can
thing.
steal from each other and get better a little bit and learn something.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that uh, I would like to be like to have the confidence that some designers do. Uh,
Oh,
this
we
meaning,
are all we are all uncomfortable and indecisive and insecure, but it's just something that I don't know, we have to do and just do it, and sometimes just post it and forget for a while because otherwise you like, oh, what they thought about it or something like this, and it's like a exercise. It's an exercise. It's hard, but I
yeah,
think it's something.
yeah,
It's something we can learn to do.
yeah. One
But
one
yeah.
uh, one thing that I did like a few weeks ago was to review a an image for a project I'm working with a friend for a mouse reader. We are working on a setting scenario, but it's also going to be an art book. Uh, so I was thinking, I was talking to him, and I was thinking, you know what, we need to make this, but if we keeping just trusting ourselves that we eventually find time to meet and to talk about the project, it will take too long, because the first time I talked to him about it was 2 years ago. So I said to him, let's take
That's
this
true.
image and let's just publish and say to people, hey, we are doing this, and now we have at least one other people knowing about it and going to ask someday, hey, is it ready? Is it how is it doing? When it's
Yeah,
going
that's
to
true.
come
That's
out?
true.
Yeah,
I'm
so
always asked about some stuff I and it's not ready yet. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes I look at other creators and hey, this person was working on something interesting. Let me see, and I go to their website or Twitter or HIO.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I think got in the way of building up this kind of process was this little person called Elon Musk. The How he destroyed our ecosystem
Yeah.
of into just destroying Twitter. It's just so sad, because like our reach now is like almost zero, and I'm not going to pay for the blue check.
Yeah. And you don't see what other people are sharing too. It's
And that's the worst part for
if we
me.
could at
Like,
least see what other people are posting, like people
yeah,
don't see what I post, and I don't see what other people post. So
one
what
of
the
these
hell I'm
days
doing
I was
here?
like,
A lot of
yeah, one of
sponsored
these days,
posts.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
go.
sponsors are like this crypto scams and just far right bullshit.
Yeah,
and and then just said, and then one of these days someone retweeted an artist, and I was like, hey, but I haven't seen this, and I followed this artist for so long. Why didn't I get it? And my feed is just so short now, but there's so much going on yet, despite that little man.
yeah,
So I'm trying to use Blue Sky more, but still, I think it's still a
yeah. It's
long
still
way from,
very still a long way to go.
yeah,
Yeah,
from to get where we were at and before that
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, it was really my favorite social media. Like we had Google Plus, which was great, but it ended. The worst thing is that Twitter didn't end it. It was just made it
Yes,
worse
just
and worse and worse and worse every day. It's a
agonizing.
little bit worse every day, a little bit worse every day. And then the X thing was like, it's over. Like it's over. You just make a big X
Yeah,
over it. It's like it's the
yeah,
end. And and we don't know where to go. Like some people went to Blue Sky, some people to Mastodon, some people to, I don't know, that other thread.
Tumblr.
And then yeah, and I can't go everywhere. Like where do I go?
Yeah,
I would just, I think I'm gonna go to the Blue Sky and hope that that works out. I don't know. uh,
yeah. Let's hope and build
yeah,
up
but
a following through newsletter and through better communication
yeah,
in your own website, or itch.io has a blogging feature now as well. So keep your
yeah,
communication closer to your the
your
the
control. Yeah,
platforms you control. Yeah,
yeah. I used it to have like MailChimp, but now I have more than 500 subscribers, so I can't send my email. So I now
oh,
have to figure out where do I go to migrate this stuff. I was trying to go to Substack, but I didn't figure that stuff out yet, but we will see. Hello weirdos, this is Diogo Nogueira and I'm back with a word from our sponsors. Me! I just released a new game called Cosmosaurus, in which you play a dinosaur space ranger who protects the galaxy from evil threats such as slime bankers, undead pirates, and Cosmosaurus from a void dimension. It's a game with a runes light system inspired by Forged in the Dark and Lasers and Feelings. It comes with a bunch of tables for you to generate content for it. If you know my games, they're really easy to play and they have tools to help you improvise and play with low prep. It's an ideal game for one-shots, short campaigns, and introducing new people to the hobby, and it's a really perfect family game. I play with my kids all the time. It's a game inspired by Saturday morning cartoons. It's really well illustrated by Lucas Kowalski from Poland, and with a great layout by Guilherme Gontijo. It's a really fun game. You should check it out on DriveThruRPG, itch.io, or exclusively in print on exaltedfurniture.com. I have many other games there, check them out. All the links are in the show notes, so click there. And let's get back to Weird with our chat. We were talking about the things like we're interested, like astrology and tarot, and you watch, like, you study other cultures. If there's anything recently that's like you studied, or any documentary you watched, or anything that like caught your attention, like any obscure kind of knowledge, or like some documentary about some place or time that got your
Yeah, yeah,
attention and made
yeah.
you start thinking?
A few days ago, I stumbled upon this documentary, not a documentary, just this YouTube
It
video.
could be TV shows or anything, like even fictitious that start making you think about something
Yeah,
weird that
but
you.
this thing was about a war fought between chimpanzees. So it's
Oh yeah.
like, so for a while people thought that chimpanzees were like very sweet and pacific and very peaceful uh, creatures, but they have observed like decades ago that they can be very brutal, just like the human beings. They can be vicious even and cruel to each other.
Wow.
And this documentary, this video, talking about this in the national park. I don't remember exactly the country, but it was in the African continent, and they had these two groups of chimpanzees, and one of the leaders, one of the groups had this his leader died, and the new leader was like this asshole chimpanzee. So they had some dissidents and formed the third group, and this this new leader didn't like it, didn't want to leave them alone. They started hunting these dissidents and
Hmm.
their families and etc. So it was like
Wow.
uh, almost, I don't know if I can call, but it was like a genocide. They just went after each one of those dissidents and killed them, and in a very brutal way.
Like a
And
totalitarian state. Yeah.
that was like what the fuck, they could have just solved this thing other ways, but this is just how we do, like how we humans do, and we can be very cruel about and just be like the worst winners ever, like we just
Yeah.
teabag your opponents just for fun, like.
Yeah.
And the chimps did that with each other, and then the scientists like was, okay, they are not so sweet, they are not so
Yeah.
peaceful as we thought. That
Well,
was
they're too close to us.
yeah, yeah,
They're
exactly.
too close to
They
us.
were hoping to find out more about how we came to be like that as well, just by
Yeah.
studying them. So that was
Yeah.
like one of the most weird things that YouTube ever recommend to me, and I love when that
If you,
happens.
if you have the name or the link of this documentary, just send us. We can put in the show notes,
Sure, sure.
because that's something to study too. And even like for Primal Quest, I'm gonna watch that, because there is like
Yeah.
simian people too, and then
Uh-huh.
that's something to watch.
Yeah,
And
that's a good inspiration.
Manuel, what would you say was the weirdest game you ever played? Like the weirdest RPG or other game like you ever played, and what was weird about it, and did you like it, or how was the experience with that?
Yeah, I think it wasn't a system, but it was like
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a
bespoke.
system. It can be an adventure
Yeah,
setting,
it was like a
even
bespoke
session.
system. Yeah, this friend of mine, he did this bespoke system for it to play like, you know, in Ghibli movies, like My Neighbor Totoro or Spirited Away, that those black furry things.
Dusty, yeah, Dusty Bunnies, or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, that's the name. We played as something like that, and
Oh,
it
okay,
was, yeah, it was a system like suited for that adventure that that is idea. The thing is, we were playing like fantasy campaigns and Castle Falkenstein and this kind of stuff like D&D, and he just like, you know what, I'm going to game master this weird thing, are you in? And we just made the characters, but not knowing exactly what was going on. And then he said, just you are just these small things, and you don't know exactly how the world outside is. You're just inside this maze, and you don't communicate with words. And that was a really weird session. We
yeah.
unfortunately we couldn't get to finish, and I still don't know what was going on there. But it was a very
That's
good
made it even
experience.
more weird, you know, even
Yeah,
even weirder because
yeah. Now it's just this weird snippet of experience. But now that I think about it, I think I'm going to ask him, since like it was, I don't know, I think it was
yeah,
like 20 years ago, and I'm going just to ask him, hey, what is
yeah. I
that
hope he
about?
remembers. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope he remembers that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
hope so.
that made me remind me of a adventure like the one who watches from below from the CC. I don't know if you ever played that. It came with a mask for you to only show your eyes because it can happen something that your character basically becomes just a pair of eyes. So you have like to communicate with just your eyes, like you have to like
Ah,
point
that's
with
really
your
cool.
eyes and stuff. You know,
That's
that's
really cool.
a great adventure, by the way. It's very pulpy and it's non-linear and all kinds of very weird, very one of the weirdest adventure for DCC. It's the one who watches from below. Uh, and by the way, in your games, like what would you say it's the like the weirdest your weirdest game or weirdest things about one of your games? I know you have the station for the two game too, like it's a card game inspired by space horror, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this card
And
game is, I'm sorry, go on.
and I mean everything have you ever done, like what would be like your weirdest thing? And by the way, that card game I really wanted to have like the physical copy of this. If you ever like managed to get someone to release that, that would be really cool because it really looks really well. And like my printer didn't do it justice. So like if you ever like do a
Yeah,
print run, that
I
would
hope
be
so.
amazing.
I hope to have it. It's on Game Crafter. You can get on print on demand, but the shipping is very
Oh
expensive, and I think
yeah.
they are not currently shipping to Brazil. So I don't have a copy either. I had to. They need you to order one copy at least to get
I
the
see.
the game on your page for sale, and I had to send to a friend in the US. So I don't have
Yeah.
my copy. I don't have it as well, but I hope to have someone to print it here in Brazil. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like I like to experiment with some things, and this was like this quick small card game uh, on mobile phones called Card Crawl, and inspired me to
Oh,
make that sci-fi version. But I didn't stop and just reskinning the thing just for myself. I wanted to make new rules, new ways to navigate that mechanic, and then Escape from Station 52 came about. And but I think the weirdest thing I've put in the world was the dodecahedron, which is this paper miniature that has its own rules for combat, and you can put it's shaped like a D12, but a big D12. In terms of D&D, it occupies the space of a large creature, and it's just this weird dodecahedral creature that it doesn't move like other miniatures. It rolls on the map, so it is part
oh,
of the rules of that creature that it rolls, and depending on the face that it stops with some face up, and then you have some special rules on that face that's up. So you have every time it moves, it can have new powers or some weird things happening depending on the position on the map. And I did this almost system neutral rule sheet for it, so you can adapt for many fantasy games, because it uses like
very cool.
that
Yeah.
new agnostic system, like you say, like damage as a long sword, for example. So in the system you're using, what's the damage of a
Yeah.
long sword, and then makes it easy for adapt for other systems. I think that was
And
the
does it?
weirdest thing.
Yeah. That thing has like a setting story, like a background, or like is it what kind of creature is it? It's that like how can
And
we
I
use
have,
that in the game?
yeah, it's I had this small text, just this flavor text saying that the origin of the creature, it's unknown, but it could be just Greg, just
All right.
fucking Greg,
Yeah. Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Who is Greg? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be ancient ones, like like aliens.
Yeah, some cosmic
Uh,
horror, or just some
yeah.
ghoul from a very dirt bath, you know?
Yeah. Emmanuel, have you ever had any experience that would like alter reality, like out of body experience, or like hypnosis, or deep meditation,
Mm,
or
yeah.
near death experience, or psychedelics, or anything that's alter the way you see reality? And if you had, how that made you feel, and how that changed or didn't change you in some way?
Hmm. I had I spent some time thinking about this lately, because I found some new information. So I'm going to tell. Uh, I When I was 3 years old, I had to go into surgery, and they had to sedate me, like full sedation. When you just shut down, and I had respiratory arrest. So luckily, my dad was in medical school at the time. He was able to be in the room when that happened, and as a dad, he was like desperate, and pushed the crew who was making the surgery to revive me, because they weren't doing shit about it. Apparently, they hadn't noticed it, that I was in respiratory arrest. So I came
Wow.
out of that with a strange memory of me waking up in an empty room, and there was this person, like this uh, the face was clouded, and they took me to a walk through the corridors of the hospital, and they were telling me stuff that I don't remember. So we sat on a bench, and he was telling me stuff, and then he said to me, "It's time to go back." And I was like, "Go back where?" And I just remember waking up, this time for real, and my
Wow.
dad was like next to me, and I was in the hospital, on my bed in the hospital, recovering from the surgery. So I that was like almost 40 years ago, and
Wow.
my whole family like thinks that it was an out of body experience, near death experience. But recently, my sister went to this doctor, for, the exophageal, I don't know, the respiratory system,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
because she has rhinitis, and then uh, she told him about my condition. I have rhinitis as well, and she told him that I wouldn't get into surgery if I had to have full anesthesia, because I have fear of, you know, having respiratory arrest
Going back
again.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he said, "Oh, but uh, that experience he had, it could have been because at that time in the 80s, this type of anesthesia used to have hallucinogenic effects." So he was like
Yeah, I
3
heard
or
about that. Yeah.
years old, and then you're just hallucinating. And I was like, "Oh, okay, then that explains that explains the thing."
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I
was
don't
gonna ask.
know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Wow, you had such this experience in like your 80s and stuff, and that's kind of, yeah, because, and even though I mean, you can believe in something supernatural and still be 80s. I would
Yeah,
believe, because I think 80s has more to do with God than with other kind of
exactly.
supernatural stuff, right?
Some people
Yeah.
don't understand that, but it's just you can't
Yeah, yeah,
believe
yeah.
in ghosts even. Like, what does
Yeah.
he have to do with God? I don't, it's
Yeah.
just, maybe there are ghosts. Maybe there are
Yeah.
like something
Do you
like that.
do you believe in ghosts?
I
Have you ever
I
had
don't
any
want to
ghost
believe, but
experience?
sometimes
I don't want to
sometimes.
believe. That's good. Yeah. No, so you have had something, right? So share with us, please, because I had to.
Oh wait, no, I wanna hear it. I wanna hear it, please.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I do remember like Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna died, and people immediately made jokes, and I started telling the jokes. And when I went to bed, like in the same week, my parents were traveling to São Paulo because my father was having surgery, and I was a kid. I think I had like 10 or 11 years old or something, and my grandmother was sleeping in my parents' bedroom, and then I woke up at night like being pulled off the bed, like from my ankles and in my legs, like being pulled out of my bed and then just hanging on the bed by like the rails on the bed and trying to scream, but nothing would come out. Like I was being like choked, and it that lasts for a while. It wasn't fast. It was like for a long while. I was like kind of desperate, and I couldn't call anyone. But it eventually went away, and then uh, when I went to my parents' bedroom to see my grandma to tell her what happened and to ask for help, and she related that something very similar happened to her. Someone was trying to push her out of bed, and like the same thing, you
What?
know. Yeah,
Man.
And yeah, and there were other episodes in other places because we used to travel to this farm like in the country here in Rio, and they would say that people had died there, and my father would have said he saw his parents there. There was like these ghostly hands that would uh caress you at night, and it's weird stuff like this. I don't know. And of course, when I was a kid, my uncles would like drag chains to the place at night just to scare the kids. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I love ghost stories, and I don't have, other than meeting the ghost, I don't have any other story uh,
oh yeah,
from my experience. But I love hearing other people's ghost stories. Uh, Usually, my weird
do you
experiences
believe in
of,
ghosts or no?
oh, I don't know. I'm not certain about it. I think that most of the time you can explain the experience with some really basic explanation.
Coincidence? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Most of the time
coincidence
it's
or
coincidence. Yeah,
psychological stuff. But
yeah,
sometimes you can't, like, just like you said, like, you, even if you were dreaming, uh,
yeah,
how did your mother had the same
yeah.
dream
My
as you?
grandma. Yeah, yeah,
Your grandma,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
so these things can't be explained yet, and I think it's very cool that
yeah.
they can't be explained. So I'm in this weird
There's this
terrain.
shared consciousness too, right? Especially like people because those things happen in the same place. Like that ghost in in the farm who used to go in the country. Like many people would describe like the same hand or the same kind of ghost they would see and hear and even though if not good, maybe like this shared consciousness that we kind of have like even as a species, some stuff are part
Yes,
of our genetics even, right?
is like, is it possible for us to be communicating uh, on some level that we aren't aware about? Something
I think
about the
so. Yeah,
magnetic fields of the planet Earth. Also, it's some people can think that
yeah.
it is
Our
responsible for
unconscious
this.
is kind of connected to symbols
Yeah, yeah,
and stories and culturally, like we have this backgrounds of myths and fears and dreams maybe and when we go to those places and we see those symbols or hear those stories of those places, we can help but have like the same imagination and share this and reinforce this. Like our brains literally lie to us like all the time to reinforce some idea that we have inside anyway. So that's gonna be
yeah.
possible, right? I don't know. Is there anything like other weird thing like you believe like aliens or uh parallel
Mm,
dimensions or any kind of religion, spirituality, like this shared consciousness or conspiracies.
yeah, I used to be like the alien or UFO freak when I was a kid. I like
Me too. Yeah.
everything, everything that on TV I was going to watch, and record on my VHS, and magazine articles. I was collecting them, and one day this friend of mine came to my house with this cassette tape with the what he was saying was a message from Ashtar Sharan, this alien ambassador from other dimensions. And it was just this weird voice talking stuff unintelligibly, and very weird voice tones and cadence, and we couldn't barely discern what this person was
Person
saying.
were
But
saying, yeah.
I was like, hey, this is obviously alien, I was like, yeah, alien. I'm trying to
Yeah.
decipher. And I was like, for a few weeks, I was like very into trying to understand what was saying uh, that tape. But yeah, I think I saw an UFO once on a farm.
Oh yeah.
Families of my cousins, and we are like just talking. I was like 9 years old, and we are talking and looking at the sky, very very starry sky, uh, on this farm, and just like light this light was very bright light, was moving very slowly, and it just disappeared and appeared in other place, and disappeared again and appeared in other place. But the pattern wasn't like this direct pattern like an airplane that goes behind the clouds, you know. It was this very weird pattern that it formed like a triangle or something like that. It was going forward and back and up and down,
Oh
and very fast. It wasn't possible for a plane to be doing that without, going down and crashing.
yeah, yeah.
So it was very weird, and it just like it it became very bright and just disappeared like in itself. And I don't know what that was until this day, but later I've read some other reports of similar things happen to other people. So I don't know. Maybe it was an alien spacecraft.
Yeah, I
Maybe
remember
it
seeing
was
something like this. I remember as a like smaller child bring something like like rotating lights like going like I remember seeing that I might be remembering right. I might have seen like those fire balloons, and might be imagined this, but I remember seeing this and like this spring thing like just going down like behind a hill or something. And I always was fascinated about that, like watching the movies and documentaries, like that Fire in the Sky movie, that was like
Yeah.
based on a real story and stuff like this.
Hmm.
And but I was always so scared about it too. I was always so fascinated about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, very scary for sure. And like you sleeping at night and you are like, oh, the aliens can cross through walls and just get me to
Yeah.
to make experience.
And it's in the middle of the night to see that lights in your window. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Emmanuel, if you could have like any superpower, what would it be, and why would you choose that?
I think it would be flying, just because I don't like driving, and
Traffic.
I hate traffic. Uh, Sometimes I don't like walking as well, so it would be flying for sure. And there's just to be
Yeah,
able to reach higher altitudes and see the world from another angle as well. It would be very
yeah,
cool.
and it would save a lot on flight tickets too to go places and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, see you guys. I'm going to Gen Con.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Just fly
hate
away.
airplanes. Like I don't,
Oh
they
yeah,
don't like me, and I don't like them. So even short flights like uh,
are you
São
afraid of
Paulo and
heights or just
Maceió.
because it's super uncomfortable because it is just
Mm,
fucking like you're like in that just sardine can or something.
yeah, I think it's that I'm a bit I get very anxious inside that thing.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to just get off,
Get
you
out.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I was living in São Paulo, I'm from Northeast Brazil, so I lived in São Paulo for a few years, and at least once per year, I came back home for Christmas and New Year, etc. And I had to face the flying machine at least twice a year, and
Yeah.
then It was very, very difficult for me. Sometimes one time I almost missed the flight. Uh,
Wow.
and I think that this is the only thing that stopped me from go to other places, other countries that I want to want to visit
Yeah.
sometime. Like
Yeah.
the people of the publisher of CBR+PNK, the Mythworks guys, they invited me to Gen Con this year, but I was like, I mean, there are a couple of reasons for not going. One is because of COVID is still out there, and I know that I am very well protected from the variants here in Brazil, but variants in another
Yeah.
country, I don't know, and I have asthma, so I'm on the risk group, so
Yeah.
I don't want to face that risk. And the other thing is like I know that the flight will almost kill me because it's like I don't know 20 hours, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's too long, and sometimes the flights delay because there is no direct flight from Brazil to Indianapolis. So you always have to either go to sometimes other city in Brazil, and then to another city in United States, and then to Indianapolis. So sometimes it can take a really long time. Yeah, more than there was once like 30 hours total from beginning to the end. Yeah,
Wow. So if I had the superpower of flight, I
yeah,
would just go stopping
much
on
better.
places and just
Yeah, and getting to know those places, or like you go to America, to South America, and then to Central America, and
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
try some food, and maybe try to meet other creators in those countries too, because RPG
of
Latin and this
course.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Emmanuel, what weird thing you wish was real? And what would it, and why would you wish that one thing was real? Like any of those fantastic and fantasy or weird things
Mm.
you're interested about?
I mean, I'm going to with the classic. I wish just that the magic and alchemy, like we see in the old textbooks, like I wish that was real. Just being able to manipulate the elements with some easy and somewhat safety if you are good enough,
Yeah,
because
I
that
would be
would,
scared. Like that would fall in evil hands, right?
yeah,
Or not?
but you know what we have and is how really fall into evil hands, like
Yeah,
technology and capitalism. So I don't
that's true.
think,
That I think that would be more accessible to fight back,
yeah,
maybe, right? Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. If you had like magic, if it was something from nature, and you could have
that would level the field for us. I think
perhaps so
perhaps.
we could make some I don't know, use for energy, use for movement, or technology or
Or
machines
food,
and
or to clean water, or
food.
to I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course.
and
And
make
we could,
money basically irrelevant. So fuck
yeah,
millionaires and stuff.
yeah, and go after them. It will be very cool. Yes, it's
Yeah,
scary, but I think like we could work around it somehow.
yeah,
Basically,
that's true.
what I'm saying like is just I wish that our world had the, our we as a people, as a as the humans, uh we would have equal access to technology, uh, to our resources. I think that's
Yeah,
that's what I hope in bringing magic to the real world.
Yeah, to level the play field and make things more accessible for everyone, so people would be able to have somewhere to live, something to eat, and like a more dignifying life for everyone. If
Yeah.
Magic were able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's like Magic from like Sword and Sorcery and it's only corrupt, so that wouldn't be very useful. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm not talking about that magic.
Yeah.
But that's a cool magic
So,
as well to have in your
yeah.
game.
Yeah. In the game, yes. In reality, that would be terrible. Manuel, I've run out of questions. Do you have any? Are you like working on anything like want to talk about or promote any work? I mean, Cyberpunk has basically been released in just a few months, right? It's a great box set. It's a great game to play for one shots and short campaigns, and it has a lot of third party support too. And the box, it's great. Comes with character sheets and things for the GM, the players, and even like supplements and modules. And do you have anything you want to talk about or promote or that you were working on before we leave?
I'm working on a few
Thank
things.
you for listening to Weird Games and Weirder
I'm
People. If
collaboration
you'd like
with
to keep up
other
with the show,
authors
please
and
subscribe
artists.
to be notified when we release
But
new
not
episodes.
right now that
If you'd like to
that
support us,
I would
please leave a
share.
review or head on to
I'm just going to say that you can follow my work on
code-fi.com/WGNWP.
Emanoel Melo.
See you next time, and remember, weird
And
is
I
the new
also have a
wonderful.
website where you can check CBR+PNK and soon Escape from Station 52. I'm going to put it up on the site as well. It's Cabinet of Curiosities.games. And just follow me on social media like Emanoel Melo on Twitter or the Cabinet of Curiosities. Oh, I'm sorry, Cabinet of Curiosities.games on Blue Sky. And check out and see if you like some of this weird stuff I've been doing and the weird stuff I'm going to announce when the time comes.
Yeah, we'll have all the links on our show notes, so just check it out, go there and support Emmanuel and his work, and it's really fantastic work. We'll not regret it. And keep it weird, everybody.